Good afternoon, ma'am. Shall we start now?
Yes, yes, I am ready.
Good afternoon, all. On behalf of IOT Academy, I welcome you all for the second session of National Level Faculty Development Program on IPR Innovations and Startups. Let me introduce the resource person of today's session, Dr. Jayalakshmi. She is currently serving as an advocate for Department of Law, Bar Council of India, Karnataka. Her qualifications include LLB from Mysore University, Masters in International Law, and PhD from National Law School of Indian University, Bangalore. She is the recipient of Srimati Tayamma and Sri Advocate Yadathur Sadhiva Lingaya Gold Medal. She has 20 years of experience in teaching. She has attended numerous workshops, webinars, seminars, and FTPs. She has attended n number of international conferences and has presented numerous papers on climate change and present concerns, futuristic innovations, creativity and innovation, and rural health. She has authored n number of publications, which includes a book titled Disaster Management Approaches and Strategies During Turbulent Times, research papers, book chapters, and articles on knowledge management, e-learning, and higher education. She is working as a reviewer for an international journal and an editor for Social Vision Journal. She is also a member of International Society for Development and Sustainable Society in Japan. With this, I hand over the session to Dr. Jayalakshmi. Ma'am, please.
Yeah. Ma'am, can you help me with the slides, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Sure, ma'am.
Yeah. Shall I open the camera? Turn on the camera?
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you, ma'am.
Yeah. Ma'am, I want the slides.
Just a minute, ma'am.
Yeah, take it. Okay.
The slides visible, ma'am?
Yes, it's visible.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. It's wonderful meeting you all and talking to you about the startup. But before we go to startup, ma'am, the next slide. Before we go to the startup, the first slide that I want to show you, it will speak enormous about what exactly is a startup. The lady standing there, that is the first slide that I put, where it says that startup in India. I say that you can understand what exactly is a startup. Startup was also, it can also be called as an entrepreneurial, the challenges that you face and all that. But still, nowadays, because the law has changed and you have the system that has changed, so the entrepreneurs have started gaining the legal help and they started taking help from the government. Many funds are used and all that. Because all that is included, now the new name is given that is called as the startup. Now, ma'am, the next slide, please. Now, why should I learn about this startup? First thing that I have to know. And why is it so necessary that on the present day that we have to speak about startups? As I told you, if I put it in a very simple form, if I talk about the definition, it's very simple, very simple line. It says, just see that startup is a new business. I already told you, any kind of an entrepreneurial venture is also a new business. But here, because we are taking the help, on one particular word is used there, to which I will come very shortly. So please read the slide slowly, then you will be able to understand. It's a new business which is beginning to grow. It can be financed by an individual or by a group of individuals. Here, young entrepreneurs come together. That's why I told you, it can also be called as an entrepreneurial venture. Young entrepreneurs come together. There is a scalable business module and they are being founders who develop a product or a service. Those two words are important there. I'll come and dissect it and give you the meaning. It can be a product or it can be any kind of a service. You foresee a demand through. That's all. I put a comma there. I have not put a full stop there. Now you see there, you foresee a demand through disruption. I told you very important is one word, disruption of an existing or by creating entirely a new market. That's why those two words are used today. You can foresee a demand through disruption of an existing or by creating entirely new market. Now let's leave the definition as it is. Next, please go to the next slide, ma'am, so that you'll be able to understand that. See there in the next slide, it's a new business. All these are new business. Just now I explained to you what is a startup. It's a new business. You can see Myntra, Kindle, Zomato, Ola are all new entrepreneurial ventures. And here we have come up with a particular kind of a model, some kind of a model. And it's a kind of a entrepreneurial venture by somebody. And here I told you it can be a product or it can be a service. See here it is connected with the service like Ola. We take the service of the Ola. The minute we say Ola, we just say we take the service of the Ola. The minute we say Zomato, we say we'll take the service of the Zomato. The minute we say Myntra, we say we'll take the service of the Myntra. Suppose I say Kindle, we just say we have purchased the product. We have purchased the product and we are using it. So here you can understand that is why they are differentiated between a product and a service. And then I used one particular word there. I said I'm stressing on that. I said there is a disruption. Now you might ask, what is the disruption that you're talking about, ma'am? It's very simple. It's the disruption of a service or a product which is already existing. Now take the example of Ola. Already we were having auto. No doubt about it. But suddenly this Ola scooters came up, Ola cars came up. Now you might ask, what is the big difference in that? See, initially when we were having these autos and all that, we cannot book it online. We just have to stand on the road. We have to call that fellow. We have to wait for the auto, or we have to go near the auto stand. We have to ask them whether they're ready to come, and they'll say, no, I'm not ready to come to Panashankari, Banaswadi, that's not my area. Somewhere in and around Malleshwaram, I'm okay with it. But now look at what is Ola. It has replaced auto to some extent. No doubt both of them are providing similar kind of a service, but there is a slight difference. Here you can book online. One. Number two is the driver never asks you where you are going. Unless, if you come in that, if you come online, it will tell you where you are going, you book it. But here, that person doesn't have much of a choice. Either he says yes or he says no. Very few of them say no because the company is telling them to accept it. If they keep on saying no, they will not get the service again and again. They cannot work under the company. So here you can say, already one particular kind of a service was there. Now you have disrupted it and you have brought in a new kind of a service. Now take the example of Zomato. Whatever you want, you order, you sit at home and you eat. And take the example of Myntra. Again, it's an online purchase. Whatever you want, you are able to purchase. Sometimes, yes, we may have to go out. Take the example of your big basket. Even your vegetables are served at your doorstep. Now, you might ask the question, wasn't it there? That time, no, unless we had a person who we knew very well, or only a person was selling in the road. We can take them for such kind of vendors, not others. But here, the system itself has changed now. We have given way to some kind of a model. That's why I told you it's a kind of a business model. And now look at the last one, Kindle. I've kept it there. Here, when I say there is a disruption of a service, the service is all the books are gone. You get things in Kindle. Of course, there is a limitation for everything. You cannot say not all the books are available, man. Yes, but still, there is a disruption. What is the disruption? To some extent, your books have vanished. Somewhere it is gone. And everything is available online. And what is that? It's simple. More. It is less than half a book. It's a very light one. You carry that wherever you go, you read whichever book you want. But suppose I get to carry a book, that particular book I have to carry. Suppose I want to read another book, one more baggage I have to take. So it is not like that. Here you carry only one Kindle and you read n number of books. So here, please go back to the previous slide, ma'am. Now you see what exactly is a startup. I told you previous slide, ma'am. The one previous to that, not this one. Now you tell the definition part. The one before this one. Yes. Now if you see the definition, keep those examples in mind, and now you see startup is nothing but a new business. It is beginning to grow. Initially, it was beginning to grow. Now it has grown enormously. We all know what is a Kindle, what is a Mantra. Man, don't tell us what is Ola. We know. But initially, it was a business which they ventured into, and it was very tough. How many of us went in Ola? I remember when Ola came, there was a fear that was spread in the market that these people will pick us somewhere and drop us somewhere. They will kidnap us. These kind of many silly things came up. When Reliance came up, I will just give you an example. When Reliance store came up, you know what they were saying? All the old products are sold. Whatever I purchased there, everything had, everything had expiry date. Everything has an expired product. I remember many things, many complaints coming up like that. Amazon, take the example of Amazon. When Amazon came up, people said they put bricks in a box and they give it off. Whatever product we have ordered, it is not coming. Now you see anything, you just sit at home at the click of a button, you get. Now you see it's a startup, it is a new business, it is beginning to grow. Yes, certain times it is beginning to grow. Now it has grown enormously. So the example that we took has grown enormously. And it is financed by an individual. Take the example of Meesho. Meesho was created by an IIT student. How many of us know this? Why Meesho was created? Meesho was created in competition with Amazon. Because you see certain things in Amazon and you see the same thing in Meesho, it will be of a less price. Meesho is linked with Cash Karo. Now you see, business is growing, business is developing because Cash Karo, as far as I heard, because I haven't tested it, I have ventured into finding out what the thing is. Cash Karo is, they say that after you buy for a certain amount, you get some amount as cash back, something like that. Even Meesho has got that, every day you open the app, so 5 points is added, and after some 4,000 points or something like that, it gets converted into money, something like that. But some venture is there. So it is, as I told you, it's financed by an individual. IIT student opened it, Meesho. Just go there and check certain two products, same brand name is checked, and the price will be entirely different. So it is by an individual or by a group of individuals, and it's a young entrepreneurial venture. Yes, as I told you, let me tell somebody that you can sit at home and you can purchase whatever is available in America or whatever is available in Haryana, Rajasthan, Delhi. People will simply laugh at you because suppose I want something and it is available only in Delhi. I have to go to Delhi, or somebody who's going to Delhi has to be told to purchase that and bring it. How many of them will do it? It's a big question mark. So here it's an entirely different thing that they have done. And as I told you, the founder here has developed a product or a service. Look at it. They thought, yes, man is struggling to get an auto. I will think of a service. The man is struggling to take 10 books product. Okay, I will make one Kindle and give it in their hand. One small, it's like just like your cell phone. And you open and you read. You read a lot of books in there. So here the founder developed a product or a service. Now please do remember these two words again, because I'll be using it when I'm touching upon IPR there. Product or a service. And they foresaw a demand. Look at it. That's a very important thing. You foresee a demand, and what do you do for the demand? You create in your mind what will happen. Let me venture into that. Let me see what will happen. So you foresee a demand, and that demand disrupts the existing market, or it creates the new market. So it has happened with all the examples that I gave you. For example, before, if suppose I wanted to purchase a sari, all the way I have to go to one particular shop. And suppose I am in one particular area. Now let us say I am in Kamanandi, Banastori, wherever it is. In that particular area, I have to buy in the shop there only, though I know that they are giving me at a exorbitant price, maybe 50 rupees, 100 rupees, 200 rupees is more. I cannot go. But nowadays it's not like that. The same product, you just see whether it is available in Meesho or Amazon. If it is available, you just can buy. And they give you a lesser price, and they give you some cash back, and they say that suppose you get into the pay later, some 150 rupees will be reduced. So many products. Just an example I'm giving you. So here, either you are creating a new market, or whatever was there, you're disrupting. Because disruption here doesn't mean that you're shaken the whole market, but in a way you're shaken the whole market. That is, you brought in something and everybody is using it, but not everybody is. Some of them are using it. They're making best use of it. I just have to click phone and somebody delivers it to my door, and the best part is I get 100 rupees back in that. And another best part is it is less than your MRP. Suppose you go to the shop, that fellow sticks to the MRP. He says, no, this is MRP. But it's not like that. It reduces, it comes down. Take the example of Ola. If you are going for the first time in Ola, I heard that they give you some 100 rupees cash back or something. You introduce somebody, some 50 rupees is given. I'm still in the old I belong to the old school, so I haven't used much, but I've heard about all this. So if you take this, this is your startup. So very brief introduction about your startup. Now the next slide. Yeah. Now the main question is why. The answer is very simple. Suppose I am a startup owner. Suppose I'm a startup owner. The first thing is there is absolutely no control over me. No control in the sense I'm talking about the employer and the employee relationship. The boss. I'm talking about the boss. I am the boss. Nobody can control me. Nobody can tell me do this. Now, if you stick on to one particular organization, you have certain controls over you. For example, you have to sign in at 8:30, 9 o'clock. Suppose they say 4 o'clock you have to sign out. You can only sign out at 4 o'clock. You sign out half an hour before. They don't like it. You may have to take their permission. Lots of blah, blah, blah. You sign out half a day out. Your CL is cut. Something happens. Completely under somebody's control. There will be people who will not like this kind of a control. See, take the example of an advocate. Many a times, many of the advocates, they don't practice under any company. They say, I am my own boss. I have my office. They will come to my office. So similarly, suppose you are the startup owner, the first best thing that you enjoy is nobody is controlling you. People want to be independent. Then people want to be independent. Some of them like to be salaried people, but some of them say, no, I cannot be a salaried person. I want to be my own boss. So there is absolutely no control. But at the same time, you have complete control over your organization. There, you don't have complete control over anybody. You might even be the HOD of a department, or you might be the boss of a department, the manager of a department. How far your people who are subordinate will listen to you. Sometimes they'll put their foot down and say, no, this is not what will happen. But here, you are your own boss, but at the same time, there is nobody to control you. And next is, there are people who come up with innovations. Very, very, very beautiful. When they come up with innovations, they don't have place to go. Suppose you are employed in one company, your innovation will not be accepted that much unless you go for a patent. And suppose you bring it out also, I don't know how far the company would like it, or how far the company would encourage you. Or if I put it in another word, the company may say, yes, we also have a control over it, because while working only you did this. How many of us would like to give it, contribute it back to the company? So if you feel that my work is mine and I alone have the right to enjoy that right, that time your innovation is important. As I told you, here again, when I'm going to talk about your intellectual property right, because when you're talking about innovation, intellectual property right automatically come into picture. Or I will just give one line about what an IPR is. IPR is very simple. The name itself says intellectual property right. Anything that I have created out of my intellect is my property, and that is what the right. So when can I say it is a property? The minute law comes into it, I can say anything is my property when law is supporting that. Take the example of, suppose I have a cell in my hand, I say that's my property. Don't take it without my permission. Once I say that is my property, automatically I get a right over it. So similarly here, anything that you claim as your property, that is something that has been created out of your brain, that becomes your property, and that automatically gets your right. Example is your copyright. Suppose I write a book, I have the copyright over it. Suppose I found something, I have the right over it. Example, fridge, mixie. Now everything we have used over a decade, over almost a century. So we don't know. But initially when mixie came, simple, we were all grinding it. From there we moved on to something where you switch on and one jar is kept there and that does all the work. So that's a great innovation. So there you have the innovation. You ask for a right. Now, when I was talking about the previous slide, I told about two words. I told product or service. I'm linking it here with your innovation and intellectual property. See, when I'm talking about innovation, it can be a product or it can be a process. It can be a product or it can be a service. Services, as I told you, Ola and all that. Like for example, mixing, fridge. So many things have come up in the market. So many innovations have come up. All that is called as, for all that you require intellectual property right, and you decide that I will bring my own boss. That is one of the best advantage of your startup. Next, it provides the rush hard to duplicate. Others cannot take it up. It is yours, completely your venture, and it gives you a kind of a rush. It tells you, yes, I'm the boss. Look at it, I have done it, and it's coming up in the market. Yes, there's so many products, new things are coming up. So it gives you a rush. You're so happy that you've done it. The other day I was listening to some work in the YouTube. The person said that the person, if he has to give a lecture for 1 hour, he charges 1 lakh, because that is his market. That's his market, because he has found certain things and he is using it in the market. See, even this knowledge, you might say, what is there in that? Even knowledge is a very important thing. Like it might come in the form of a corporate. So something like that, it is very hard to duplicate. Gives you a kind of a zeal. It tells you, yes, I can do it. I can push forward. And you serve as a role model. Very, very important for all of us, Something we do in our organization or institutions, wherever we are working, nobody looks at you as a role model. They say, okay, she's done it. What's the big deal? Others will also do it. And maybe some extent encouragement is there, but not to a complete extent. They don't see they don't keep at a very higher bracket and do it. But here, you become a role model. Take the example of Misho. When I was finding out what exactly is Misho, I was so thrilled to read about those boys. They're very youngsters, quite a youngster, and you will not believe if I tell you that at that age they thought, yes, I will bring something in competition with Amazon. It's very tough. Imagine we will never be able to go and fight against the big fish, but these people did it. See, that is something they wanted to be a role model. They wanted their thoughts to come out. They came up with a similar app, but they're doing well. Yes, now it is captured the market to a large extent. Then you have the freedom to travel. See, when you are an organization, you don't have much of freedom. Here you have the freedom to travel and no age barrier. That's very important. If you want to join an organization, why you wasted so many years? What were you doing at home? All these kind of questions. But there, even at 50, I start something, I'm innovative, I start something, yes, I can go about. Now take the example of your KFC. KFC person, everywhere you go, that person's face is there. And I heard somewhere, I read it, that he started the KFC at the age of somewhere 60 or so. Nobody asked him, what were you doing until you were 60? From 40 to 60, what you were doing sitting at home and eating? Is it? Nobody asked him. Yes, I am the boss. I started at 60, somewhere around 80 or so, he inspired. But still, he created his own empire. That's another example of startup. Then you're cubicle free. Very important, when you're working in an organization, we sit inside the cubicle. And no blame game. Very, very important. I lose, I'm the loser. I win, I'm the winner. Yes, if I have lost, I know I need not have to play the game like this again. I may have to change my strategy. That's very important. But suppose I'm a winner, I take all the credit for myself. But again, I don't blame anybody. If I've lost, yes, I don't blame anybody because there's nobody controlling me. But at the same time, I have full control of what I have found out, what I've started, what I've started. So there, no blame game. But in the organization, it is not like that. Suppose you are in a group, you blame that person, this person, this person, that person, and you're not happy with what's happened. At the end, the result is zero. Then you're not undervalued, and you can spend your valuable time with the family, and you feel it's much healthier. Many of them, you heard one example for this. Many heart attacks. If you see their history, many of them get heart attack on Monday morning. The reason is the fear that I have to go to work. Many of us feel, what is so fearful in going to a job? No, that stress is inbuilt in us. Stress is very much inbuilt in us, and we say that, okay, I have to go, I have to report to my boss. You will not, I will give you an example. One of my, I was working in an institution where one lady met with an accident. She was a sweeper there. She met with an accident. She had an injury on her head. And you know what happened? When she was admitted in the hospital, repeatedly, because she had to report to work on Monday, she was repeatedly saying, that person will scold me if I don't go to work. That was the only thing that was there in her mind. She's in an unconscious state, but she's still going on blabbering the same thing again. So you can imagine how much of a stress it gives her. So here it is not like that because there's nobody to control you. If you don't want, you close your office today, or you don't go to your office, others will be working under you. So it is more healthier. And you can pursue and enjoy your hobbies. Many times, very important to give time for ourselves. Many of us don't do it. At once, when we are young, people keep on asking, what's your hobby? What's your hobby? After one particular point of time, we have forgotten that word. It's very casually, we have forgotten that word. We don't ask what is our hobby. Suppose somebody asks, when we were young, we used to say collecting stamps. It might look very simple, as if we are going to collect the stamp of the whole world. No, but still something you would have collected. You would have shown it to our elders. Keeping happy in that. But over a period of time, we completely forget. So here, you can pursue your hobby. Anything, it can be painting or singing or whatever it is, you can do it. And practically no checking of time. This happens. In the morning also we check because we have to check in. Evening we check because we want to get up. 4 o'clock is your time to check out. Means 3:45 only we start looking at the clock. That stops here. And you report to nobody and you create your own legacy. Very, very important. When I'm talking about innovations, suppose your children take up those innovations and get the patents or get a copyright or whatever it is. Here it is only patents because it's a startup. Here it's only a patent. They get that legacy. You can always say, my father did this and I have carried on with the legacy. Beautiful to say that. And you build your own security, very important. And then you feel appreciated. Feeling appreciated is very important. And then there is no boring meeting. Many times the boss calls for a meeting at 3:30. You want to walk out at 4 o'clock, the boss calls you for a meeting at 3:30. And you're so bucked up and you're so irritated. But still you cannot do anything. But here, it is not like that. Last one, very important, is the of your job. Because you have chosen it. And if you feel that there's a good lot of money in it, you have to love your job. Now, please move on to the next one. And next one. Now, what are the salient features? Now we'll get to the legal point of it. When I say I want to start, I'm going to have a startup or I'm going to start something new, I'm going to build a model and all. The first thing that we require, though you enjoy all the benefits which I told you in the beginning, though you enjoy all that, the first thing that comes to your mind is you need a bank. You definitely need somebody to help you. And when you feel that you need to register it legally, there the problem starts. Because when we work under our organization, we are not bothered. Somebody has done all that process. But here, you're the boss, so you need to take care of all that. So what are the features or what is that the government is doing to help them? Very simple. First is all the one and a quarter banks have been asked to give encouragement and give them the loan. Loans will be given to them. Whoever says that I'll be doing for a startup, of course, you need to give your documents, for which I'll come in the last. What kind of documents that you need to give? And here, one tribal women, one Dalit women, and one women entrepreneur will be always encouraged. And then you get the incentive for manufacturing the job for manufacturing units and for creating the jobs. You get certain kind of a packages that the government gives you. Again, in the last two slides before, I'll tell you what exactly it is. Then there are special arrangements for female applicants. If women are coming up, then the government is coming up with schemes for them, like how we can help them. Because you talk about some incubators, I'll come to that in the last, where the women will be given more of a preference and they'll be given more of a helping hand. And then you have the mobile app for registering. Because you are going legally, you need to register it. And here, mobile app is there and portal is there. You don't have to come under the Ministry of Corporate Company Affairs and all that, so you can register it. Now the next slide. Next slide, ma'am. And 2010 to 2020 has been declared as the decade of innovation, and you have also have the National Innovative Council that has been established by Mr. Narendra Modi, our Honorable Prime Minister. And they have given one more benefit. We need to remember this. Why I have to tell about 2010 to 2020? They give more prominence to this kind of innovation. That's why that has been put. And we need to know whom we have to approach. So a council has been set up, and no tax will be deducted on the profit for 3 years because it's a startup, and you need to go on. So no tax will be given on any kind of a profits that you earn for the first 3 years. And you must remember that any particular point of time you want to quit, you just want to say bye-bye. There's a very easy exit policy. It is not so with a company. In a company, it's entirely a different thing. You have to give your audit report, you have to bring your CA, give all kinds of reports, and then many people will be appointed, company will go, a lot of processes there. But here, they don't put that much of a pressure because it's your own. You decide don't want to continue. Yes, to some extent, the policy is very easy. That's very important. Because if I want to close, I started it, I want to close. And if I have to go through the grilling process, then that they don't do. They just ask you to exit. And then capital gains will be given the tax exemption. And then, as I told you, special arrangements have been given for female applicants. And there's a single point for the startup for clearance, giving the clearance, that is due diligence and all that is there. For giving the clearance, you have to go to one particular point. Usually, the postgraduate colleges have been selected as the incubator. So you go there and you get all the things done. Even otherwise, you go there, they will be able to help. And the next slide, please. Yeah. And then, as I told you, here, new intellectual property rights protection is given. Very important. See, as I told you, something that I create out of my mind, I require protection because I don't want somebody to copy it and say that, yeah, I am the boss, I only created it. That happens many a time. So for that, intellectual property rights are being given more of a protection. Very, very important, because when you read our Indian history, the first thing, take the example of any institution. You must say, no, if you're working in an institution, the first thing that any person from NAC comes to, the first thing they ask you is, what is your research? They ask you, what is your research? Because India has been very good in all the lines except for the research. Here, what has happened is, research means we think something that is already said by somebody we have to copy. No, it is not like that. We need to be more innovative. Recently, when I was reading about the startup to deliver a lecture, what I did was I was seeing some big videos in YouTube. And one of the person comes up and says that your nail clipper, your nail cutter, Your nail clipper is also produced by China. We don't have even a single unit producing nail clipper. And just go to YouTube and check innovations by China. You just see what all kind of an innovation they come up. 10 rupees they come up with innovations. One example is recently we went to the market and I saw there was a colorful ball. And I purchased it. I was thinking it's very nice, it is very colorful, just 10 rupees, no, pick it up. And that was from made in China. And once you hit the ball on the wall, immediately the light glows inside. Now, you might be thinking, what is so great in it? Now, thousands and crores of balls might be sold throughout India. What kind of money the Chinese government must have made? And there is one carpet that you put near your bathroom. When you come out, it is just like your paper. It just absorbs the water from that. And you just have to keep your leg on that and walk off. It absorbs water. So see the kind of things that they come up with. And they have come up with small clips where you can stick your things in the bathroom. Now it might sound very stupid or silly for us, but see the handicraft market or the small market that is thriving in China. If you read China's economy, you don't have big things in China, but it's thriving just because they're selling this to neighboring countries. Many of the times, when Diwali comes, there will be one group of messages will be sent in WhatsApp. Don't buy Chinese, crackers. But if you see, they have different colors. Everything is entirely different for them. That's a small scale market that is going on there, and they live only by selling it in the nearby poor country. But we don't have such kind of a startup here. Many innovations are not there. I heard that one boy had done one a project where the current goes automatically. It's got nothing to do with solar and all that. One project he had done where the current goes automatically, 1 or 2 bulbs out will burn. Some project was done in Coimbatore. One in a school, one child had done it. How many of us know that? Many of us don't even know that. Because they are not bothered. See, that kind of a thing is very important. You need to see that child might be very young and maybe his innovation is not great, or it might be too great also. I do not know because I am not into that electrical line. But still, when they come up, we don't encourage, nor are we bothered. We go by the same routine where we follow the old system. So all that, if we want to come up, very important is our protection of our rights. And see, there is an 80% reduction in the patent free and fast tracking of the patent examination. Immediately it will be done. Startup means it will be done. And the paying of the startup fees, where you pay to the incubators and all that to assess the whole thing, it is very much reduced. And self-certification is given. You have to give your own certificate saying that it is worth doing it. And then I think I've already cleared that. Please move to the next slide, ma'am. That's the discussion. Sorry on that. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah. And then suppose we become an insolvent professional, then immediately a liquidator will be appointed. Very immediately will be appointed, and the exit can be made easier by providing 90 days exit. As I told you, in the company law, it doesn't happen like that. The liquidator is appointed. A lot of procedures have to be done there. And from whom you have taken the loan, how we are going to do everything will go to the liquidator. Here it is not like that. Immediately it will be done very short time because only you are doing it. You are doing it, and so immediately the law does not take much of time. And then if you receive any consideration with regard to your issue of the share prices, which exceeds the fair market value, such prices will be taxed, not otherwise. You can go to the next one. I'm sorry on that. There seems to be 2 or 3 repetitions. I'm sorry. Now, next slide. Now, what is the thing that the government is doing apart from this? In what all schemes you get the encouragement from the government? Government initiative is first is Mudra Yojana. You get money under the Mudra Yojana, and then you have K2 fund, that is self-employment and talent utilization fund. And apart from that, you have the e-biz portal. You have the portal to make things easy for you. So e-biz portal is there, and your royalty is reduced from 25% to 10%. They have done. This is the government that the government is helping you in these 3 ways. You can approach them under the Mudra Yojana. Now, next slide. Here, why we have to think about startups is very large population. India has got large population. Many times we say we are not getting employment. People say employment is very tough. Employment has gone down. The inflation is back. The inflation is up. Inflation is down, and all this kind of a stuff you can hear. The reason is completely Indian population is dependent upon employment. Many a time we are dependent upon employment. It shouldn't be there. Your large population is very much your opportunity. You must think. Suppose you cannot go and join somewhere, or your qualification doesn't suit you, or suppose you don't get job for a long time, you will immediately think of a startup, because so many pluses being given by the government. But at the same time, our large population is definitely one of the advantages. Suppose we can do it, it's very good. And huge investment is not required in the startup. And slowly we are seeing some change in the working population. See, a few years back, I saw a beautiful video. The video is fascinated me. The reason is very simple. They said, suppose my grandfather has worked. My grandfather worked for sustenance because he had to eat. To eat, he has to work. So whatever the employer said, even if the employer said, get out in front of everybody, he has to stick on to the job. Next day, he had to come, he had to smile because he had mouths to feed and he had to eat. No other go for it. And my father took up the job. That is the next generation. I'm just giving an example. The sustenance level went to some extent luxury. Lose the job, but he can always say, boss, enough. Don't speak like that. At least, though not in public, in private, he can go and say, please don't insult me. I'm coming here to work. I know my job. Don't think that I require money for food. Nothing like that. My father has made one land is there, one house is there. Don't scold me in front of others. I don't like it. Now, the next generation, that is our generation, can afford to say, I can quit the job after 5. See, there is one thing that is going on, that is DINK, double income, no kids. These are kind of a thing that has come up in the market. And retirement after 40. Because you can wait goodbye, because from sustenance level we have moved. And now we feel nothing happens, I will start something. I will do things on my own. There are many people who come out at 40, 50, especially the IT workers. They say, my back is aching. I will quit the job. Bank workers, they are all quitting because, see, suppose you work for 10 or 15 or 20 years and you take a VRS, immediately you get 30 lakhs, 40 lakhs. It's something more than enough for your food. So from there, slowly the mindset is changing and many people are coming into the market. And one thing is left blank there. It says that your intellectual property is protected. So you don't have to worry. So the first thing is we have large population. We can enter into it absolutely with no fear because the things are made simpler. And huge investment is absolutely not required for the startup. Many of them do it within one house. Take the example of your Amazon itself, where they come and keep it in one place. I've seen that it is just a small shop of 10 by 10 or 10 by 12. All the products come, and these people keep it here, and they in fact send it to all the delivery boys. Delivery boys hardly get some 8 or 10,000 per month, along with the petrol allowance. So what they do? Open one shop, all the things come and fall there with the sticker. This goes to this house, this goes to that house, and that fellow comes in the morning. Okay, where you have to go? Should you have to go to Kapan Park Road? Okay, MG Road, take this, go. So here, very less investment. One shop is more than enough. They close it, they open it. That's it. And you don't have big table, chair, nothing to be invested. Like it's a big company, one big building has to come up. Nothing of that sort. And as I told you, the mindset has changed. And absolutely, absolutely, you have the intellectual property right protecting. Move to the next one, ma'am. Yeah. Now, what are the issues? Very important. See, all the while you were saying, I am not my boss, nobody can ask me, no time frame, no cubicle free, I can travel, I can spend time with wife, all that we said. But there are issues as well. The first thing is I would put in under the regulations, financial resources is very important. Suppose I want to start something, financial resources is very important. All of us don't have money at hand, at our disposal. Few of us do have, but all of us do not have that much of money at our disposal. Some of them who are finding it tough. Already they're finding it tough to find a job means what? They come from a middle class family. So for them, financial resources, though loans are given, no doubt about it, but many would hesitate to take a loan because on that interest rate you have to pay regularly. So some hassles are there from our side. If you have good lot of money, you can enter into it, go ahead. So that problem is faced by some of it. And revenue generation is very important. See, suppose I have a startup. Not that I'll be very happy. I know that I am my own boss, but at the same time, I must remember that next month I should get money. I should get money. Then only I will work for something. So not to sit and sell this, and if it doesn't, if it is not able, we are not able to sell it in the market, then what will happen? Next month it will be tough. That is why many of us stick to the job because next month chunk amount falls on first within 10. Whatever kind of the organization. So that's a little bit of a hiccup. So that's a challenge they all have to face. And lack of mentorship. The team members, They must be coming together. They must have the team spirit. See, many a time 2 or 3 people come together in the open office. They must have the team spirit. Very tough, very tough. At one point of time, they may say, no, I just want to go. Nothing is working out here. So the team members, very important, and supporting infrastructure is very important. How many of us will be able to even establish a small office? If I say small office, it must be one table, chair, something must be there. People must be, when they approach me, they should feel that this is a secured place. Suppose I'm starting something, small amount of small land is required on which machineries are required. So supporting infrastructure is also a challenge that some of them face. So if you're able, if you've got good money, you can go ahead. But otherwise, these are the challenges that you face. Struggling period of time. Then exceed the customer expectations. Very important. Many a time, see, suppose Ola comes, as I told you in the beginning, none of us accepted Ola. None. Forget about all that. When bank was nationalized, people went on strike. You can just go back and read the papers. People went on a strike. Now people want private banks. Now imagine when Indira Gandhi made the banks as private banks, nationalized it, they went on a strike. Now they were saying we want private banks, enough. We have seen Meera Modi, Vijay Mallya, everything is enough. Now private banks are better. But at the same time, you're saying we want security. You're not happy with the cooperative bank. You're saying, oh, if they wash our hands, it becomes a problem. So any change in the customer expectation will be very tough. When banks, when they brought in computers into the bank, nobody accepted it. They started going on a strike. Just say this was just in the year 1990. They said so many of us will go without jobs. Nothing like that happened. The computer stopped working. They were only working manually. But still, the change was not accepted. As I told you, Ola was not accepted in the beginning. Take the example of, as I told you, Amazon that I told you. They were not accepting it in the beginning. They were saying, some brick was kept inside and somebody sent it. Some rumors are created that it might be true. I'm not taking this side. It might be true or it might be false also. But these kind of things too rush into the market immediately. I saw a video recently about Misho where they were saying, I ordered for a blue color saree that they delivered red color. Then they say that the option of exchange is there, but by then one fellow wants to create a video and immediately put it. I am not happy. Customer service is not that good. Something like that. So the ratings will be up and down. You should be ready to face it. And next, lack of good branding strategy. See, the minute we see brand, we know this is good. But to go to a new one, it is very tough. We will not accept it. Take the example of a soap. Just giving an example of a soap. From Lifebuoy, we were not able to move out. Very tough it was. I'm talking about 70s and 80s. Nowadays, anything come, all the youngsters will make use of it. They will see, before us, they will see and they'll experiment on it. Just take the old mindset. They will not accept it. Take the example of Lifebuoy, as I told you. From Lifebuoy, rich people were using Lux. So that is why from those days, you have the cinema star advertising for Lux. The number one star in Hindi will always advertise for Lux. Shah Rukh Khan, Salman Khan, all these people will come. Whoever is getting more in the market. But for us, it was very tough from Lifebuoy because the cost is involved. To create a brand is very tough. Take the example of one soap recently, which I saw it with my own eyes. There's one soap called Lexus. This soap was sold in the road for 10 rupees. I have seen it with my own eyes. Lexus, Lexus. It was sold for 10 rupees because they were not able to capture the market at all. It was a startup. 10 rupees they were selling it. Now Lexus is 25 to 30 rupees and it's available in few of the capital cities. And it's a very good soap. Very, very good. The brand is good. Everything is good. And only when you order, you get it. To that extent, they've got. I'm not saying they've crossed the Lux and all that, but yes, to some extent, they've reached a better product. So you should remember that good branding strategy is very much important. Otherwise, you just fall in the market. If you fall again, you go back to the same mindset where you feel like going to work. So these are some of the hiccups or these are some of the challenges that you face. Now the next slide. Okay. Apart from this, what are the laws applicable? All the laws that is there for other companies are applicable except for the few exemptions that I gave you. Loans are given, immediate exit policy will be there for you, tax exemption will be there. Apart from that, you will be coming under the labor law, that is Industrial Dispute Act. Suppose you have an industry, you come under that, trade union will be there, then payment of gratuity will come, labor law will come, provident fund will come, ESI will come, then you have to, ma'am, the next one. Next one, huh? Yeah, you will be coming under the Security Exchange Board of India, foreign exchange. Suppose you are giving money outside India or transacting that way. If your product is sold outside, you will definitely come under SEMA, not FERA, SEMA. Then Arbitration clause will be there, because if two companies are entering into any kind of a contract, then arbitration clause will automatically be there. The income tax will come. Though I told you for first 3 years, there will be exemption from your profit. Automatically, if you continue after that, you come under the income tax act. Then you come under the Apprentice Act. Again, there is one exemption there. For the first 1 year, that Apprentice Act will be given some kind of a relaxation. You know what is an apprentice? Somebody working under you will be given some kind of a exemption. Apart from that, environmental law creation clearance is very, very important. Suppose you are starting an industry and it's going to pollute the river or it's going to pollute the environment, then you need to definitely get the environmental law clearance. See, if it's a very small one, it is not going to disturb anyone, you don't have to. But if you're going for a startup, since it's a little bigger one, then you have to get the environmental law clearance. And the next one. Yeah. Then here, these are the rules that comes for the startup. That is to say, it should not be more than 5 years, and then it shouldn't cross beyond 25 crores. At the beginning, they've given you some to bring it within the startup. See, suppose I'm investing 50 crores. I cannot say it's a startup. It's slightly on the bigger side. So it shouldn't be beyond 25 crores. And here you have to get the appreciation from the DIPP, that is your Department of the Industrial Policy. You have to get from them, and then you have to get the recommendation letter from the incubator. That I will tell you in the next slide. Absolutely nothing to worry. You have to get the permission from them, and certain exemptions are given for you. These are absolutely technical matter. What all I covered till now, except for the incubator part, everything is put in this slide. Nothing more than that. Only thing is, suppose you are establishing an industry, you have to get the clearance from the DIPP. That is your Department of the Industrial Policy. That's next one. Now, what are your legal procedures? Very, very important note. See, all the while we were talking about how I enjoy and all that, but there are certain procedures that you need to follow to start up. As I told you, environmental law clearance and all that is okay, but you have to get a recommendation letter from the incubator. Now, you might ask, who is an incubator? Usually, in the postgraduate colleges, this incubator has been recognized by the government. That is, they are the people who say what needs to be done. What needs to be done. So here, a government of India will set up a place which will be within the postgraduate college, and that place is called as an incubator. There will be all kind of assistance. Now, they'll be funded by the government of India, or they'll be funded by the state government. Here, the incubator performs due diligence. Due diligence and assessment. That is, suppose I say I'm going to start this. They will come and assess. Suppose I say I have a small office. They will assess whether that office is this big, whether you put up that big of a board, because it is required, no? The board size is required. The name of the person who is doing it is required. All that they will assess, and they will tell you what are the quality strategies that you need to adopt. Suppose you are going to bring in certain things. Take the example of Ola. The car should be clean. So many rules and regulations are there for them. See, suppose you switch on the intranet. What kind of a person you are, you give a rating and all that. No, everything will be classified. Everything will be classified. That you have to tell them beforehand, before you are starting. See, as we ask n number of questions, the government will also ask n number of questions. How do you check the safety of the passengers? What do you do? How exactly are you going to rectify it in case there is a problem? Because one legal problem should not lead to the chaos in the law and order problem. Take the example of Ola. I told you. You pick me somewhere and you drop me somewhere, or you do something to the person, or a person is murdered. Who will take the responsibility? Now, the company as such has to give everything. They should say, yes, this person's data I have. Completely it is given with the police. So these kind of things that you need to give them. That will be given by the guidelines, will be given by the incubators, and all this data that they give you must be furnished. It can be from government side, or it can be from the person's side. Everything that they ask must be furnished. As I told you, it comes under the Department of Industrial Policy and the Promotion. And then a complete application form along with the other documents. Whatever they ask you, whatever documents that they ask you, you have to give that. Suppose you fail to give those documents, your startup will not come up, because they will not approve it. They will absolutely say, no, you don't satisfy all the criteria that is required by us, so we will not do it. So we are not going to consider it, and license will not be given to you. And remember, the startup will agree to personally visit and interact with the incubator. That is, you have to go there, and as per the requirement, you have to sign the undertaking. Just now I told you, everything you have to do what they ask you to do, and you have to adequately explain all the questions that they ask you. You should not say this I will think about and come. Complete form you should have with you. Complete detail you should have with you. Complete research you should have with you. And suppose there are certain things, small things, like say they ask you, give a security of 25,000, you can tell them, I'll come later, I'll come with the bank documents, furnish it with you, whatever the rule is. I'm just giving an example. So these kind of small deviations will allow you, but they will not give you a license for that. But otherwise, they will not give the license. So you need to do all that job. And the next slide, please. Yeah. And then you get the tax benefit. Already I was telling you. As I told you, everything that goes out, suppose you're dealing with other country, you fall under the FEMA that I told you. See that setting up of having overseas subsidiary, foreign currency accounts to be opened with a bank outside India. And very important, the balance held in such account should be repatriated to India. That is because we are giving all the license, all that should come as a revenue to us. That is, you are taxed under that means it should come as a revenue to us. So whatever money got accumulated in that bank, if it is you are dealing with a foreign country, everything should come to you automatically. As I told you, next is apprentice. I already told you some exemption is given for one year. We have been dispensed with for the first year. Because first year they'll be struggling. Already we are encouraging startups, so because they'll be struggling, so the first year exemption is given. Then up to 3 years, certain inspection will be taken up only only when there is a verifiable company, not otherwise. You are given some exemption because some kind of support you require from the government. So if there is a valid complaint only, they will take up the issue. Not otherwise, some exemption is given for first 3 years. And the next one, please. Yeah. Then you have to get the environmental clearance because you have to say whether it's a polluting industry or not and all that. So that is again, you have to get the clearance from that. See, they have categorized it. That is, suppose you are having the index score up to 20, then you belong to white category. That is your level of pollution. Suppose 21 to 40, green category, 41 to 59, orange category, 60 and above, you belong to the red category. So, in what category they have to put your startup, that they will be deciding according to the scale. That's all. Nothing more than that. And the next one. Yeah. Now, what are the legal matters? That again, as I told you, these are legal things to start your start. But what are legal matters that you face? First is agreement between the company founder. Who is the board? How disputes will be resolved? Very important. But I remember having spoken about the arbitration clause. That is, who is going to solve your dispute? Are you going to go to the court? Are you going to go to the arbitrator? Very important. That needs to be put in the agreement, clearly told. See, when we are starting a company, we need to come up with all that. So if anybody has signed an agreement, you will know all the disputes will be settled in court of Karnataka. All the disputes will be settled in, suppose you have an head office in Calcutta, all the disputes will be settled in the court of Calcutta or West Bengal. Like that it will be written. So here also you need to to get the stability, you need to think on the subject need to be produced. Then as I told the IP owner, that is how your trade license will be given and what are the agreements that you are going to enter into, all that needs to be clear. Your tax deals. See, suppose you come within that framework where you can be exempted, fine. But after that, at one point of time, you will come under that. Once after the exemption part is over, you will come under that. So how they are going to deal with it, and then different types of contracts that you're going to enter into, how they are going to be enforced. Very important. Again, I touched upon the word there, whether it is the arbitration clause or whether it is the court or whether it is out of the court, all that they need to know. Then, when they are involved in the diverse field and in an open economy, they are going to seek the multi-jurisdictional access. Suppose I am involved in Bangalore as well as I am involved in Singapore. So, in a case like that, what kind of a jurisdiction I'm going to, which jurisdiction I'm going to invoke is very important. Then, very important thing is we need to know whether we'll be able to, whether our legal system can accommodate this, whether it has got the elasticity to accommodate this kind of problem. Because all the while we were talking about handicraft industry, that is, I'm talking till we did not venture into startup. We were talking about handicraft industry and we were talking about all sorts of industries and we were talking about the company. So these are the three things that come. Handicraft, very small, very, very small. In a very small cottage they do it. Next one is industry. You come under with a, as I told you, DITC. Then the next one is company, where you fall in. So here it was very easy. You go here, you go there, this is the tribunal for you. But here, the legal system have the elasticity. And very important, I put one word there, look at it, advocate act. Which advocate is going to come and take you? See, when I use the word section 2(1) clause A means who is an advocate. According to us, the one who is registered with the Bar Council of India. Suppose you say, I have a setup in Singapore, then are we going to accept them? Is there it's a very, very big issue that we need to answer. Are we going to accept the advocate being produced in Singapore, Singaporean by national, all that we need to answer. And then, see again, as I told you, can allowing the foreign lawyers capable of filling the gap. Suppose they are a foreign lawyer, will we be able to accept it? But our system is yet to get adjusted to that. All the while we were only talking about company law matters are there. Industry, we come under the industrial policy. Other things, chota mota, puzzle and all that, we go to various courts. These courts, this jurisdiction is given. But here, how are we going to do? Suppose we have a foreign exchange. We have already told in the agreement that somebody in some other countries also, same status is functioning there. How we are going to answer these questions? So for this, some changes need to be made in the law. But to some extent, we have been able to do it as of now because startups have not gone to that level. But we need to think about it because after 4 years, 5 years also, if they are able to sustain in the market, they'll not go easily away from the market. See, suppose they want to go, you have made easy this policy. Suppose they don't go, they sustain 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, 10 years, then these kind of problems might arise for which we need to find an answer. So some lacunas are there here and there. But if we've already filled that answer, fine. Suppose this answer is not filled, yes, we might find a new battle coming. Then the next one. Okay. Now I would like to conclude by saying that first very important thing is absolutely easy exit policy is very important because it stops our financial irregularity. If I am going out of the market, I don't want to do anything further, or I have made more money, I am not able to sustain here either way. So it is stopping the problem. Yes, that is there. Then next one is India is less known for its innovative products. I told you even the name Qatar is not being produced by India. So we need to know, we need to come out with a lot of innovation. That's one big problem India faces. Many of us do not have that research capacity at all. And we are not bothered about research. We have this, after the Britishers ruled us, we have this working capacity part. We have this, and I wouldn't use the word slavery, that would be too much to use. I would say that we have this working thought. We feel I go to your work, I get a job there, so much of money is given, I come back home, I don't want to do any kind of a research, I don't want to get into all this kind of thought for that. We want to be secure. Indians are more secure people. That's why if you see, I would debate on that for just 1 minute. See, that's why if you see India, we have this concept of saving more. The minute you say saving, automatically your mind says whether I have to take a risk. But take the foreign countries, saving is not more. Where they don't have saving, automatically the risk factor will be there. They have to survive, they have to swim. There is no other go. When you have to swim, see, I don't have anything yesterday in the morning, such people have to swim, there is no other go for it. See, one example is, when you have nothing in your hand, you immediately jump and you start something. But when you have everything in hand, you are a little careful. You wonder whether I'm going to go to the market and lose it, whether I'll be secure. So when you have this kind of a secured feeling, or once the saving comes into the mind, innovations are tough. See, the China economy is not that good. That is why they come up with anything. Ball, fine. There is one toy that I saw in Majestic. You just have to take that. He looks like a Superman, Spider-Man, sorry. And that you have to take. It is only this size. Hardly the size is just 3 inches or so. You just have to throw him on the wall, and that fellow holds the wall and gets down on his own. There's some rubber-like things fixed to there. Very sticky things are fixed to there. And he puts that toy on the wall. It just goes and sticks. And automatically that fellow gets down. Just 10 rupees. So here they have to survive. They do everything. But here, will we do it? And then remember, job seekers market to job creator market. Very tough. Very, very tough. We have to move to that mindset, and it takes a lot out of us. As I told you, if you're safe, you will do it. If you're not safe, then you're bothered. How will I do it? Who will help me? Suppose if you're in between, such people struggle and come out. That's maybe out of 130 crore population, very less of that. And then liberalizing the legal structure. As I told you, legal structure must change. We cannot stick on to the old system. We need to change. Look at the other countries, they change. But we are not able to do that. Again and again, we stick on to the same act, the same policy, same thing. Because for us, it is very tough to change. Change means Indians are a little allergic. I'm not talking about everybody, but I'm talking about majority of us. That's our mindset. We are brought up that way. And then skill development, very, very important. Many of us, we have the skill. Take example of any child, anything he does new, we say, it's fine. That's all. We don't allow the child to grow more. We say, enough. You should become an engineer. I'm not worried about all this. He paints well. We say, yeah, you paint well. Good, keep it up. We don't accept a painter in our house. We don't accept a singer in our house singing. What you will do? How long you'll go and sing? Who's going to call you? Maybe one Diwali, one concert will be there. Here, you're fully here, what will you do? So these kind of things, questions, as I told you, the saving mind and the mind of security is too much enough. So skill development, though, we have many times we don't encourage. Unless we must remember, the startup can maximize this potential by supplying to the demand and supply. That's all. Demand and supply, we need to think. We need to work on it. Yes. So some changes have to be done. But remember, absolutely, the situation today is you are allowed by a good plan. Everything is there. A solid strategy is there. And a thorough market research is what is taken. By saying this, and the next slide, please. I would say thank you all for all the patient hearing. Please be safe. Wear your mask. Your health is very, very important. All of you should be safe. That's all I would say. Whenever possible, stay at home. If you have any questions, please ask. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much again. Yes, ma'am. Please ask me.
The session is open for discussion now. You can unmute and interact with the resource person, or you can post your questions in the chat box also. Thank you all. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, you can ask me, ma'am. Ma'am, somebody has raised their hand. Kiruba, ma'am, has raised her hand.
Ruba, ma'am,
Ma'am,
do
you
you
can
have any question, ma'am?
Pardon, ma'am?
I'm just asking her to post a question.
Yes.
Please post the questions in chat box. I'll read it to ma'am. She's there to help you. You can post the questions in chat box also. I'll read it to ma'am. Please post your questions.
Ma'am, can we find?
Any questions? think there are no questions from their side, ma'am. Shall we wind up?
No problem.
On behalf of IOT Academy, I thank Dr. Jayalakshmi ma'am for the enriching and enlightening session. And we thank you once again for the amazing presentation, ma'am. Your session on IPR, startups and innovation will be very beneficial. Thank you very much for your efforts, ma'am. I thank all the participants for joining the session today. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all. Thank you very much for your efforts, ma'am. We expect more
Thank you.
sessions, ma'am. Thank you very much,
Thank
ma'am.
Then can I close it?
Yes, ma'am, you can leave, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am. Kindly submit the feedback form using the link that has been posted in the chat box. Thank you all. Have a great day.